Generative AI is improving developer efficiency by letting you bypass time-consuming coding tasks and accelerate building within familiar APIs. Amazon CodeWhisperer is an AI pair programming tool that can help you complete programming tasks faster and more efficiently. Hi, I'm Tiffany, and in this video, we'll dive deep into CodeWhisperer and explore its key features, including basic commands, code suggestions, best practices, documentation, unit test, data sample generation, regular expressions, security scan, and reference logs. CodeWhisperer is compatible with several IDEs and 15 programming languages. In this demo, I'll be using VS Code with Python. Let's get started. To install CodeWhisperer, go to your VS Code, go to the Marketplace, and search for the AWS Toolkit. Click on that, and click Install. Once that's installed, you can see the AWS menu on the left-hand side. Go to the CodeWhisperer section, click on Start, and now you can sign up with your Builder ID. So click on Proceed to Browser, Open, and now you can switch to your browser. Confirm and Continue. Now you can log in with your Builder ID. Access data, allow. And now we can switch back to your ID. So now that's done, you have a new section called Learn. You can click on it, and there you can see that you can try CodeWhisperer with different languages, such as TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, Java, C#, and also you can explore different commands. So we'll see how we can generate code suggestions with CodeWhisperer. You can click here on Try in Python or any other languages you want. And here you see that as you press Tab, you can accept CodeWhisperer suggestions. Also, here an example with a comment, you can write function to upload a file to an S3 bucket. And here you can click on Tab to accept, or you can click on the left and right arrow keys to look for different suggestions. Let's accept this one. And that's it. You can go back to the Learn section to explore other exercises. Also, you can read more about the scan vulnerabilities, and you can look for other documentation. Now that we know the basics, let's dive deeper. In the next example, we will create a shopping list and show how CodeWhisperer can help you at every stage of the project. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like. So to build our shopping list, we will first create a class called shopping list. See that CodeWhisperer is already giving me suggestions, and it's not exactly what I want. So my first advice to you would be to instead write a docstring. Just make sure that you give as much context as you can, so CodeWhisperer can give you better suggestions. Here I am commenting everything, just to make sure that CodeWhisperer understands what I'm doing. And here we have the init function. You can also comment it here. And then we want to build an add item function. But my first and my second advice to you now is if you code with a code companion, you want to make sure that you test every suggestions that the code companion is giving you, because you don't want to over-trust the AI, right? So the thing that you should do is work TDD, so test-driven development cycles, which means that you write your test cases before you write your functions. So here we'll go to the test shopping list file, and we will start building the test cases. Make sure that you open the file where you build your class right next to your test cases, because CodeWhisperer takes as context every files that are open. So that's important for you to know that whenever you build your test cases, just make sure that your class is open right next to it. And you'll see that CodeWhisperer here understands that I might want to import the shopping list class for the unit test. So now let's build the test add item. Here CodeWhisperer understands that I might want to test for an item to be added to the list. But an item should not be only the name of it. I will add also a, like, let's say, sort of a barcode, an ID. And I also want a price for my item. Here CodeWhisperer understands, and a quantity. Yeah, 1, that's good. Let's see if CodeWhisperer understands this modification. Yeah, there you go. You see that I have not precised what the barcode was, neither the name, milk, neither 1.5, but CodeWhisperer is trying to make sense of this context and is giving names to it. So product ID, product name, price quantity, it all fits. So I will keep this. And now we can go back to the shopping list class and build the add item function. So now I like this, but I want more in the docstring. Oh, that's too much. If CodeWhisperer gives you suggestions that you're not happy with, you don't have to take them for sure. Here also, I want to precise what a product ID is. I know that a product ID is a unique 8-character string with only numbers and uppercase letters, because that's the format I want for my product ID. So I give this as context to CodeWhisperer. We'll see how this can impact the code later on. I'm pretty happy with this, so let's test, and the test case pass. Great. Now let's build a function to remove items, so we'll build the test cases before. I like this. Yeah, this works. So going back to our class, remove item, perfect. CodeWhisperer understands what I'm doing because it has the context in the test case file. And let's test this. The test case pass. So we can see now how quick you can go at building your functions. Now let's build in add multiple item test case. That's not quite what I want to do now. I want to first initialize the shopping list, sure, but then I want a list of items. Right, exactly. So here CodeWhisperer understands that it needs to put items in this list. It puts the milk, but I want different items. So let's see if we change the barcode. Yeah, CodeWhisperer understands it has to be a different product. So now it gives me eggs. And now you can automatically generate data samples, which is pretty cool because it makes you save a lot of time when you have to generate a lot of those samples. You don't want to write them by hand. And now CodeWhisperer should understand, yeah, that I want to assert equal for those lists. Going back to our class shopping list, let's build the add multiple items function. There we go. CodeWhisperer understands it has to take the list of items as an input and the test case run. Let's try something a little bit more involved now. Let's build a function to test if a product ID is valid. So if it has the right standard format that I precised earlier in the docstring. That's interesting here. You see that CodeWhisperer is giving me the product ideas that I used before in my code for other products because it assumes that those are valid. Let's see how it goes with the invalid products. Now it takes the exact same product IDs, but instead of using the uppercase letters, it's doing it with the lowercase letters, because in the docstring before, I precised that the standard format for a barcode, like for a product ID, should be only numbers and uppercase letters. So CodeWhisperer is true, but there are other ways to have invalid product IDs. For example, it could be a bit longer. So just make sure that you enter all of the edge cases possible in your test cases. It's not because CodeWhisperer give you those samples that it tests extensively for all of the cases. You just need to make sure that also you test everything that you want to test in your function. So I will also add special characters, for example. So that should not work for product IDs. And now CodeWhisperer should understand that I want to assert true for valid and assert false for invalid. Exactly. Going back to our class, we build the isValidProductID function, and there we go. We have the function. If we test it, we just need to make sure that, we type self here. So relaunching the test. There we go. The test pass. You can also use the docstrings to prompt engineer what CodeWhisperer will give you as a suggestion. So for example, let's say you're not happy with this suggestion and you want to check if a product ID is valid with a regular expression. You can directly write it in the docstring and then regenerate the suggestion from CodeWhisperer. And here you see that CodeWhisperer is giving you a new suggestion that is completely different than the previous one. And also, it requires you to import the regular expression library. And as you can see, it added the import on the top of your file. So that's great. Testing this, it runs. So that's pretty cool. You now have all the tools in your hands to code more efficiently with an AI coding companion. We will now see how you can make your code safer with Amazon CodeWhisperer using the security scan feature. So here I have a file with potential security breach, and I want to scan it. So if you go to the AWS Toolkit, under the CodeWhisperer section, you'll find the security scan button. So I only have 7 files in my project, so that's going to be quick. But bear in mind that if you do the security scan, it will scan your entire project. And you'll see here we have 2 issues that were found. If you go under the Problems tab, you can click on each of those issues and read the extensive description as to why CodeWhisperer thinks this is a potential security breach. Here we see that we are logging credentials, which is not best practice. So to solve for this, we will erase those 2 lines and create a session. And we will put our access key and secret key in the session. And here you see that CodeWhisperer understands that I want an alternative to the logging and is giving me the option of putting the access key and secret key in the session. Here, for the second issue, we see that we failed to set the authenticate on unsubscribe flag to true, so let's do that. And once you have gone through all of the issues and you think this is fixed, you can go back to the AWS Toolkit under the CodeWhisperer section and run a second security scan just to make sure that everything has been resolved. And here we see that all the files were scanned and 0 issues were found, so this means that my code is now safe. CodeWhisperer can also flag code suggestions that resembles open source training data. Let's see how you can more easily track them with the reference log feature, and we'll go through the settings. So now we want to create a function to build a DynamoDB table. So as I start typing this, you see that CodeWhisperer is giving you a suggestion, and here it's under Apache 2.0 license. So if you accept this piece of code, clicking tab, you can see the details under the CodeWhisperer reference log, and you can see which piece of code is under which license and from which repository. This is really important because here what it means is that whenever CodeWhisperer is giving you suggestions that resembles a piece of code it has seen in the training set, then it can give you the reference under which this piece of code was and from which repository. So now you can make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to take that piece of code. If you don't want to have any suggestions that is under reference, you can go into the CodeWhisperer settings and uncheck the box with the option called Include Suggestions with Code References. In that case, you will make sure that none of the suggestions that are given to you is under license. Also, you can go back to the settings here, type AWS. And you can see all of the other settings that you can change depending on what you want, how you want to customize CodeWhisperer to give you suggestions. Here, for example, if you don't want to import recommendation, you can uncheck this box. The most important one here is this one called Share CodeWhisperer Content with AWS. If you don't want your code to serve as training data for CodeWhisperer, make sure you uncheck this box. So that's it. From installation to documentation, security scan, and everything in between. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite CodeWhisperer feature is. Want more? We have plenty of other GenAI videos. Hope you found this useful and informative. Please hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more weekly videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.